Hello, everyone, and welcome to Brand and Sell Yourself session by SLTC, or the Student Leadership Training Committee. By the end of this session, you will learn how to build a personal brand, how to have your own personal brand, and how to build your elevator pitch that you can use in different scenarios in your career. So we'll start by introducing ourselves. My name is Nicole Saloum. I am the expansion lead for the Student Leader Training Committee. So I plan on expanding our work into different regions worldwide. And I have with me Brandon. Brandon, can you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, yeah, thanks so much for having us both. We're so happy to be here. We just wrapped up one of our favorite weekends of the year at the Student Leader Training Conference, where we had about 100 students from around the world. And so we're really energized and happy to bring you this content today. Like Nicole mentioned, I'm the Student Leader Training Chair. I've been doing this for about 5 years. And you know, the things that we're talking about today are so impactful and have made such an impact on our lives, and we're just so happy to have you here. So I hope you enjoy. And Nicole, why don't you take us into the content?
Yep, let's go right into it. So first, let's start with defining our personal brand. What is personal branding? Basically, personal branding is how you promote yourself. It's like any other brand that you see, like wherever you go on the streets, you see on billboards. We should have our own personal brand. So it's your unique combination of skills, experience, and personality that you want followers to see, and you want people to around you and who know you to identify you by these specific skills. So basically, it's the telling of your story and the impression people gain from your online reputation. So if you're starting to think why this is important, why does it matter? You should know that people are Googling you at every stage of your career. Whether you're applying for an internship, whether you're applying for entry-level jobs, for C-level jobs, or you're starting your own company, people will Google you and will see where you stand as an online reputation. So, and what they find can have major implications for your professional and personal well-being. To give you a little bit of a concrete example, I want you guys to Google yourself. So this is a short exercise. Just go into Google and put your first name, last name, or first name, last name, and university, and go to images.
When I do it, everything that comes up is ASME related. So that should tell you something about where I spend my time.
All right, and once you Google yourself, check your images, check where you are. Are you in the first five images, the first 10, 15, and check if this is really what you want to people to see when they Google you. And we'll go in right in. So keep the Google tab open and go to menti.com or Sarah. We have Sarah volunteer with us. Thank you, Sarah, for helping us out. Can you put the link that people can follow to vote?
And while you guys are voting, I'm actually going to pull up menti.com so we can watch the dashboard. So just bear with us. Make sure you go to menti.com, code 9151513, or you could follow that QR code, and we're going to actually pull up the results in just a minute. Okay, scores are starting to come in.
Nice. So we're at
Slowly.
So far. So it's being split between in the first 5 pictures, or for first 5 Google results, and more than 15.
It's a
You're
tight
10%
race.
in the middle. So for the people going that are in the first 5 Google results, this is already good. So this means that you are engaging and you are posting a lot about yourself, or people are posting about you online with tagging you or mentioning your name. For the ones who are at more than 15, this is, you guys should work more on promoting yourself online. And but for the first ones, the ones in the first 5 Google results, this doesn't mean that you have a good personal brand. This means that you have a personal brand. It could be like the picture that you're seeing now, or at a party, or a certain scenario that you don't really want a potential recruiter to see. So Brandon, can you go back to the results?
Oh, sure. Yep. Okay, there you go.
Okay, so this is what we have for the first question. Let's go to the second question. So how can you describe yourself in the pictures you see in your Google results? So this is where you actually will, all right, professional, I would hire him or her. No way, how can I remove these photos from existence? This is what we'll see now.
I have a few of those.
Even within ASME?
Maybe bad haircuts circa 2014, pre-ASME involvement. Man, we've got a lot of professionals.
That's amazing. All right, so for the professional ones, we're gonna see how you can maintain this personal brand. This is really good. And for the party animals and the people who really want to enhance their personal brand, we'll also go right into it. Okay. So
should we switch back?
Yes. Thank you. So with this in mind, it's worth noting 2 facts we have today. For job seekers, you have to know that more than 50% of employers won't hire potential candidates without some sort of presence today. So they either will look for you on LinkedIn, on Google, even on social media like Instagram and Facebook. So really take care of what you post and what you project to others, because recruiters will check that out. And if you're thinking that you won't apply for a job, you are a freelancer and you're making your own career path, or you're starting your own company, you should also know that consumers will check you out. So potential consumers or potential investors will choose a business, will choose to work with you if you're a freelancer, if you have an online presence. So now that we know why it's good to have a good personal brand, and why does it matter, and what is a personal brand, let's try to see. We'll go into a brainstorming workshop. So let's try to see what builds a personal brand. So what you should think of, what you should really keep in mind while you're posting and while you're promoting yourself. So it's brainstorming o'clock. How do you define your personal brand? We'll go now into pinup. Sarah, if you can also put the link for pinup. Pinup is an interactive tool where we can, usually what we do at SLTC, we would have boards with sticky notes or whiteboards, something that makes it interactive, and we're trying to simulate the same thing virtually. So Brandon, can you share the pinup link?
Yep, pulling that up now. Okay, can everybody see that?
Not yet.
How about now?
Yep, thank you. So what we have here, we have different blocks. So I want you to start thinking of your own personal brand, or your own technically different answers for these questions. So what makes you unique? You can, when you go into the link that Sarah posts in the chat, you can just click remove the fill me in and have your own answer. This is anonymous, so you can put whatever you feel like putting. So what makes you unique? You could go one by one. What is your vision for your personal brand?
Okay, great. It looks like people are starting to fill these in.
That's great. Thank you, guys. We're going to take a few minutes for this. So just think of your own experiences, your internships, what you do at university, anything that you would want to share with your potential recruiter or your potential investor, even if you're at a career event like the one that we're at now, and you want to network in the networking sessions, what do you really want people to see?
Okay, dedication. Absolutely. What makes you unique? Being dedicated. Somebody wants to be a designer. Okay.
An engineering designer or a graphic designer?
Looks like people are creating their own cards.
Why not?
We could probably use some feedback here in number 5. How can you help them? What makes you different? So in other words, how can you help the person that you're speaking with?
Yes. So the people here, if you're applying for an internship, let's say in automotive, how can you help? So what do you have? What kind of experience or expertise do you have in automotive that can help the company that you're applying to? Or if you're networking with people that are potential consumers, if you're a freelancer, here is the place where you'd say, let's say I'm good at writing business plans. So this is how you can help your potential consumers. So what services can you offer, basically?
And if anybody is interested in using this tool at their own student section, feel free to take a look and take advantage of this at pinup.com. It's a free tool. Everything that we're doing here, you guys can have access to for free. It doesn't cost any money to use this tool. And it's really helpful to lay out your ideas on a page.
All right, guys, you can keep on filling. We're gonna start sharing what you wrote. So for the first block, what was the question for the first block? It doesn't show. Is it who are you? Or what makes you unique? So we have leadership and interpersonal skills, dedication, adaptability. Now that's a really important skill right now. And it's actually a skill that is asked for most companies, especially with the changes that are happening in today's world. So wherever you look for skills needed in 2020, you will find adaptability and flexibility. So that's a really good one. Lone wolf. I like that one. Convincing. That's great. What is your vision for your personal brand? Multidisciplinary entrepreneur. So
I
for
love that one.
the person who put this, yeah, this is amazing. So basically what you should think of is when you're posting, if you're going to a boot camp, to an innovation center, post about it, post about your ideas, try to have surveys that to ask people about whether they would use the product that you're developing or the service that you're developing, to see that way it would show that you're a multidisciplinary entrepreneur, and it would also give you an insight on whether potential consumers would take your service or product. What are your professional goals? Start a company, acquire a job in design engineering, programs manager, and I hope to develop new and better heat transfer technology.
Being
Wow.
specific is always good.
Wow, that's really good. All right, who is your audience? And who can you help? My prior bosses. The audience is the prior boss. I like that. So let's hope one day you get to hire your prior bosses. My prior professors, my friends, yes, exactly. My online following, my community, and potential employers. Exactly. So whenever you are posting something, whether it's a blog, an article, a picture, something about an event online, always think of your audience and think of the people who will be seeing you.
And
And how can
one
you
thing
help
to
them?
add there,
Yeah.
Nicole, is you know, I remember when I first started applying to jobs, I always thought that I was applying to the job application. But at the end of the day, the person that hires you is not a website. It's a person. So I like that everybody included people there as opposed to the job description.
Yeah, exactly. And just to add to that, actually, we have one of the on-demand sessions, and it's about how to get past the ATS. ATS is the software that tracks and scans CVs and job applications. So the first step is actually a computer or a robot. But after that, it's a person that will see your application and will grade it. So you can go ahead and watch this video. It's a 10-12 minute video that explains how to get to the hands of recruiters. And after that, you go into personal branding, you go into how to really answer interview questions and get the job of your dreams. So, okay, how can you help them? You can help win more clients. This is what employers are really looking for. Like if you know how to get them more money and let them make more money, this is your big win. I have specific knowledge and expertise and customer service. That's also great. Customers first. I have research experience. Okay, so some things are good to mention on LinkedIn. For example, if you have experience in customer service and you have a specific, maybe if you're still doing looking for internships and you have just summer jobs, you can post them to say that you have this customer service experience. And how can you prove it? With awards, presentations? Exactly. These are very important to post wherever you can. So whenever you think of your audience, think of where the audience will look for you. And this is where you should actually post your awards, diplomas, maybe an event that awards you some certification. Okay, this is amazing. Thank you guys for participating. We'll go back to the presentation, Brandon.
Yep, switching over now. Okay, we're back.
Awesome. So with this, we will have as a wrap-up roadmap. So to define your personal brand, what you have to do, first step is to define it. So what makes you you? And this is actually what we were doing in the brainstorming session in the first few blocks. So have a clear outline of your personal brand, have short and long-term personal goals, and think of your unique qualities, think of your talents, areas of expertise, your accomplishments. Put everything down. It's like you're writing a CV, but a really, really detailed one, to think of everything that you've done and that is worth mentioning to potential employers or potential customers. Now that you know what you want to show and who is your audience, start picking the platforms based on the audience. So do you want to post on LinkedIn? Do you want to have YouTube videos that where you can share your interest or your expertise? You can write some articles on Medium, and of course Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We know that these are more for social interactions, but employers will look for them. So really be careful of what you post and where. And the third step is create, share, and monitor. So create the post or articles, videos, whatever you feel like you want to share. Share them and keep monitoring your personal brand. Keep every once in a while Googling yourself, like what we did at the start, and keep looking at where you stand on Google or in Google Trends, to make sure that whenever people look for you, they see the professional side that you want to show. And with this, I think we're wrapping up personal branding, and we'll go into the elevator pitch.
Yeah, Nicole, before we move on, we just have one question from Yuz Lim. I apologize for mispronouncing your name, but the question is in reference to searching yourself, and they're basically asking, should we be searching in a private browser or using a VPN when we search our name? Because doesn't Google track our browser history and give us results based on us?
You mean if you're searching yourself?
Correct.
If Google will show something different?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really matter. Even if Google tracks your IP address, the results will be based on, so maybe it would later on show things that are similar to what you're searching, but the first time that you search, and even when you search later on, the search will almost be the same, whether an employer is searching for you or you are Googling yourself.
And if you are worried about it, you could always open a, if you use Chrome, like an incognito tab, or if you have a VPN, just make sure that you're not logged into any Google accounts, and then you'd really know for sure. But I think that would be a quick way to test.
Yeah, if you Google yourself and you find that the picture that first comes up is the one that you have on your Gmail, let's say, profile picture, then maybe there's something going on there, and it's better to use VPN. And more accurate to use VPN, but usually you don't have to worry about that.
Okay, so those are all the questions that we have for now, but we can certainly come back at the end.
We'll go into Q&A later. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A part, and we'll make sure to answer as many as we can.
Okay, so there's two sides of building a personal brand. One is on the digital and one is in the real life. And of course, all of us, today are experiencing the digital version of real life through Zoom and conference applications like we're using today. But this concept of when you're live speaking with another person, how is it that you introduce yourself, and how do you build connections to them in a way that resonates and make them want to spend more time with you and listen to you and appreciate what you have to say? So the first thing that you're going to do after they make the connection with you through your online presence or an introduction is your elevator pitch. And your elevator pitch is a great way to share about your expertise and credentials quickly in a way for people that didn't know you before, in a way that allows them to connect with you and understand kind of who you are and what you do and why you should be talking. And the idea, why we call it an elevator pitch, well, it's because imagine that you're in an elevator and you only have a short amount of time. you're only going to the third floor, so you've got to get your message across quick and make it memorable. Where might you actually use this? Well, so people like Nicole and I use our elevator pitches every day, especially when we're networking at job fairs, whether we're being recruited or recruiting people, of course at ASME events, and even when we're introducing ourselves via our digital media presence, which would be LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever else. If and if anybody is attending from the Student Leader Training Conference, you might recognize the people on the next slide, but we actually included some examples of introductions specifically for people that went to the Student Leader Training Conference last weekend. And I think this will help illustrate how each elevator pitch is going to be tailored to exactly what you're spending your time on doing right now. So I'm going to go to the next slide here. And so we've got 2 examples for you guys, and I'm just going to play those now.
Hi, my name is Dariana Troche, and I'm a third-year mechanical engineering student at University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez campus. I'm proud to be part of ASME Student Leadership Training Conference 2020.
Okay, and one more.
Hi, I'm Abhinav Ajit. I'm a BTech Honours student from Government Engineering College, Trivandrum, Kerala, India. I consider myself as an innovator, problem solver, and a part-time entrepreneur. I had been to IEEE Student Leadership Training programs, and it's the first time attending virtually for ASME's Student Leadership Training Conference. I am eagerly waiting to attend the conference, and I thank you for selecting me for this prestigious event.
Okay, there are so many good things about these videos. And so Nicole, do you see anything that came right off the bat that you thought, wow, that was really effective?
Yeah, I like how organized they are, both of them, how they follow a specific, it feels like they follow a specific structure, but it's also very natural. It's not like they memorized an elevator pitch and they just throw it through it. And what I really like is that they mentioned what sticks. So they mentioned something. For example, the first one mentioned that she's proud to be part of the SLTC group. So this is what she wants to highlight. The second one mentioned that he's an innovator and he's a problem solver. So they're really highlighting their personal brand through an elevator pitch, and I love that. I really like these pitches. Well done.
Yeah, agreed. And one thing that I'll just comment on is the composition of the recording of this. And this is something that I think everybody should be considering now, especially because we're going to be digital for at least a short time or the near future. So the composition of your video, what you're wearing, but really the lighting and where you're positioned in the frame and how the frame is shaped in order to use the pixels that you have. So I think the colors, the lighting, the audio, and the overall quality of the video really elevates these pitches. And we want to build on that, right? So Nicole and I have come up with 4 steps that you guys can do in your own elevator pitches that will help you take what those 2 examples were to the next level. And it really happens in 4 steps. Who am I? What can I offer? Why am I here? And what I hope happens in the future. Now, we've purposely left this framework open-ended because elevator pitches are fluid. You might talk to 10 people in 10 minutes, and each of your elevator pitches might be slightly different based on social cues that you get from that person. For example, their age or how they're dressed. Maybe if they're a student like you might introduce yourself more colloquially. But if you happen to introduce yourself to, for example, Tom Costabile, the CEO and executive director of ASME, you might be a little nervous. There's no reason to be nervous, but of course, we all get nerves when we're meeting people that are so important to our society. So my point is, your elevator pitches are going to change for who you're talking to and their understanding of who you are. And these 4 components are good ways to think about that. So we're going to ask everybody to go through these steps, and feel free to use something like Pinup for yourself or just take notes. But let's go through this. So first, think about, who am I, right? So you're telling either the recruiter or the person that you're or the person that you're you know, speaking with about your name, where you're from, your engineering major, or you know, other major, and maybe something unique about yourself that's going to stand out. So just think about that for a minute or two. And while we're doing this, Nicole, was there something that you felt that maybe we can add to this this step here? Maybe how would you address this step for yourself?
Um, for you mean for the videos or for this specific step?
For step one, who am I? So maybe what's something interesting about yourself that you might share in a professional setting?
Okay, so other than these points, you mean? Mm,
I know one thing that I would always add if I noticed that somebody had maybe a musical pin on their jacket. I play music, right? So that's something that's unique that I might be able to relate to the person.
yeah, yeah, it's good. What I like to do is if I'm going into a networking event, I would like to know who I will be meeting first, or at least try to get a feel of the people who are going to be there, and trying to tailor my pitch to the people that I'm meeting. If I'm going to a mechanical engineering event, or to ASME, I try to think of all the things that I've done in engineering or in entrepreneurship. Whereas if I'm going into a sports event, I would think of all the hobbies that I have that are specific to sports, and this is what I would be saying in the first step.
Mm. And knowing who your audience is plays directly into step two. What can I offer? Because in order to determine what's valuable to somebody, you have to know kind of what their intercept is, what their frame of mind is coming into that event. So if this is, like Nicole said, a sports related event, maybe you're looking to deliver value in there. So it's going to come down to what sport it is, and you know, what area are you in? Team management? Are you in the venue? Are you in the press and media? But if it was for an engineering event, maybe I know somebody like myself with decreased hand-eye coordination might not be looking for somebody who's addressing those types of points. So I might be more interested in, you know, more nerdy things like computers and SpaceX and satellites and all of those things. So take some time to think through this. What can I offer to the people that I'm trying to explain myself to, right? To give my elevator pitch. So what are some projects that I've done, classes that I've been in, internships, leadership activities, and then I'll say the same thing as the last slide. What's something unexpected that somebody couldn't learn from your resume or your LinkedIn profile? Because really those are the things that are going to allow you to, I'll use an industry buzzword, is short circuit somebody's understanding of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So I know one thing that Nicole and I would probably add if somebody asked us, you know, are we involved in volunteer activities? We always love talking about the Student Leader Training Committee and our work at SLTC. So Nicole, I don't know if you have anything to add there.
Well, it's definitely a huge thing. Well, what we do with SLTC and the way we convey it to in networking events. Me personally, I know that I mention ASME or SLTC at least in every interview that I have, because it. And again, I tailor to my audience or to the person that I'm talking to. But I mention ASME, but then if they're looking for something technical, I would talk about the Codes and Standards Committee in ASME. Even though I'm not involved in it, I would say that I am part of this organization that focuses on this, and then I can have connections there. And if they're asking for leadership, I would talk about SLTC in specific. So it depends really on who I'm talking to, and this is how I tailor the same experience, but in different ways.
Yeah, and there's ways of saying this that can be more impactful than others, right? While still saying exactly what it is that you do. So I'll give you one example. I could just say, yeah, I volunteer with something called SLTC. It's for mechanical engineers. It's a professional society. Or I could say, me and a team of 5 people organize a global conference with 100 students, 65 student sections from 15 countries on 4 continents. And over the past 5 years, we've impacted 4,500 young entrepreneurially minded engineering students around the world, right? So being able to communicate the value, the impact, that those short circuit phrases that allow people to understand, wow, this is real, this is mobilizing people and making ideas happen, right? So it's about being impactful. Step 3, why am I here, right? The person wants to know, why am I spending my time with you right now? And that sounds a little maybe perhaps rude, but this is the way that the human mind works at its most fundamental core level, right? Why do I care? And this is something that salespeople and entrepreneurs struggle with every day, is being able to communicate a good answer to why, right? Why should I be interested in the company? How do my skills and experiences align with your needs? And these steps build on each other. Now, step 4 is what I hope happens in the future. And I would, to put this in one word, I would just say ask. Have an ask, right? So ask somebody for what you want. Do you want an interview? Do you want to stay in touch on LinkedIn? Do you want them to help coach you, right? Get their business card and ask for a follow-up. Don't say, if you're looking for something from somebody, don't say, hey, shoot me an email. Say, hey, let me have your card and let me send you an email. And that way that puts you in control of the situation, right? So what I hope happens in the future. And I hope if any of you guys introduce yourselves to somebody today, just think about these last few things as words of advice. Make sure to speak naturally. Remember, you're not talking to the computer, you're talking to a real life living human being with hopes, dreams, fears, anxieties, just like you, right? The second piece that we hope to take away is slow it down, especially with technology and bandwidth issues. Am I on mute? Hey, you're on mute, those types of things. Slow it down, speak strongly, but with good diction, and make sure that people can understand the words that you're actually trying to say. Thirdly, you want to tailor your pitch. As an entrepreneur with my own company, I have probably anywhere between 5 to 15 pitches ready to go at any given point in time for the relevant customer that I'm addressing right now. And that's not to say that I'm pretending to be something. That's not what I'm saying. What this is doing is it's taking the elements of your business that all exist simultaneously and only communicating the ones that are most effective to communicate your message to the person that you're trying to address. And finally, we all have very limited brain bandwidth. So Nicole and I always want you guys to remember to keep it simple. And what that allows you to do is to speak to anybody at any knowledge level without insulting or going over their intelligence level, while at the same time communicating the same ideas that you meant to communicate in the beginning. And all of these combined, I would just say, manage your energy. When you're saying sentences and you want somebody to pay attention, don't forget to inflect and take a pause and give somebody an on-ramp to listen to what you have to say. And then don't be afraid to stop, let them ask a question, and then respond. Okay, so that's all we've got for you guys. I dropped a QR code on the left-hand side of this slide that will take you to all of our social media. Student Leader Training is hard at work with not only just wrapping up our largest conference of the year, the Student Leader Training Conference, but also expansion activities that Nicole is running and doing a fantastic job. We're so happy to have you all here, happy to help speak with you and work on your personal branding and your elevator pitches online if you go find us on LinkedIn. And with that, anything else, Nicole?
Awesome, thank you. And Sarah, if you can also put the link of our social media accounts, just in case people don't have their phones or cannot scan the QR code. It's also a link that takes you to all of our pages, social media, where you can check our newest events, the one that we had last week and the upcoming ones.
So this is the part of the session where we pause for questions. So we've got about 5 minutes. Is anybody curious about Anything that we spoke about today, feel free to push back on something that you heard. There are no wrong answers here. Any questions at all? We must have done a good job if nobody's got any questions, Nicole.
I hope so.
So I'll just add here, we hope that you guys take advantage of this content. I know as an entrepreneur today, if I had this information 3 years ago, I would be in a very, very different place and potentially be have had the opportunity to advance my career much faster. And what I'll challenge you guys to do today is get uncomfortable, get out there and just try something, right? If there's anything that I've learned about being part of the ASME community now for 6 years, it's that it's a safe space to try something, and it's everybody that you meet is going to be kind and is here to help you grow. Would you agree, Nicole?
Definitely. I think what we're creating now is what we would want people to share with us, or have wanted people to share with us when we started with ASME. And even if you don't have questions about this specific session, I would say just, if not now, maybe later on our social media, just drop us topics that you would like to discuss, or any question that comes to mind that you think might be helpful in your career or in your continuing your university, and we'd be happy to help, whether one-on-one sessions or creating content for all of you guys.
Looks like we just got a few more questions in here. Gregory, I've been a member for 4 years, but I'm looking forward to being more active. Yeah, absolutely. I hope you are. And this is a great group. You've got a lot of support here. So take advantage of everything that you can find on the platform to get in touch with people. You know, if you're looking to get involved on the team, the first thing that I would say to anybody is come to SLTC, apply, give us your best application, and we'll obviously it's obviously an invite only event, but we're always happy to take and inspired by student leaders from around the world. So definitely take advantage of that, and you can find us via that QR code that Sarah just dropped in the chat. We have a question from Jawad. How do you take that first step to reach out to potential employers and recruiters? Nicole, do you want to take that one?
Sure. Yeah. First step to reach out. The main thing that you should do is networking. So creating connections. How do you do that? First, think of the company that you want to apply to. Check their LinkedIn. Check if there are people that you know, or you might have something in common. Maybe you're both in ASME, or you're both at the same university, a university alumnus. Reach out to them before reaching out to employers or recruiters. Reach out to them, ask for a virtual meet now. Maybe if it was different, I would say go for coffee or go for dinner. Meet with them, ask them the questions that you have about the company culture, to make sure that you really want this job. And then ask for a contact in the recruiting team or in the HR department. And this is when you can send an email to the HR, tell them I met with X, he's a colleague of mine, or he's a previous colleague, and they recommended I talk to you, here's my CV, or maybe we can meet to discuss further if you don't want to jump right in and send your CV. But networking would really help at this point, and to start to go into the recruitment process. It's even it's like a fast track other than just applying or submitting an online application.
Guys, I think we're running out of time here, but we have 2 more quick questions. How would you suggest creating an online presence if you're interested in 2 different industries? Would showing aspects of both show a lack of direction?
I love this question. Really interesting. So if the industries are really far from each other, pick one and focus on one, and then create maybe another page or another similar, like it will also give your name maybe another account to focus on a different industry that shows an expertise. I'll give you my own example. I use LinkedIn to share ASME related stuff and work related stuff. And I have an Instagram page called your.career.consultant where I only share career tips. And it doesn't really show me, as I don't put my name, but I do what I like, and I show that this expertise is different. It's based on research, it's based on interviews that I have with industry experts, and it also makes the impact that I want to have in careers, and it doesn't show that I'm just running adrift of what I want to do as an entrepreneur or as a consultant.
All right, guys, I think we're out of time. And just to close this out, we've got one more question here. What are some ways to increase our online presence, taking into account the effects of COVID and how that has limited some areas of networking involvement? And Nicole, if you don't mind, I'll take this one and just close with, don't be afraid to raise your hand and ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of confidence and the ability to leverage people who have offered their help to you. Being here at these events is one of the best ways that you can take advantage of the ASME community, and don't be afraid to ask for help. So we're here for you. Please reach out to Nicole and I and on LinkedIn, and we'd be happy to speak further. But I think that's all the time we've got, and this has been such an awesome session. We really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.